What's going on, guys? You are here for a momentous occasion. So we had a previous episode where we decided what the best 80s action movie of all time was. Well, we are back to decide what the best 90s action movie is, and we have an awesome panel to help us out. He is one of the foremost movie reviewers on the worldwide internet, Chris Stuckman.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
He's an old pal of the show. We're glad to have him back. He's one of the schmoes know. He's a very funny stand-up comedian. Let's welcome back Mark Ellis.
Thank you, Hal. Like my mom always said, always bet on black.
He's a force of nature, Nick Mundy.
I can't wait to win.
So we're continuing with the same rules we used in our 80s action bracket. The movie has to include a terrorist, drug dealer, buddy cop, Stallone, or Schwarzenegger. But for the 90s, we're expanding the rules. If a film is produced or directed or made by Jerry Bruckheimer or Michael Bay, if it has one of these three actors, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Keanu Reeves, bam, it's a 90s action movie. We spent a lot of time deciding what movies were going to be in here, and then we used the scientific method of IMDb rating to rank them and establish the matchups. Are you guys mega pumped?
Absolutely! Yeah! I am too.
The first matchup, Timecop against #1 seed, The Matrix. Nick Mundy, let's go down on the end and start with you, sir.
We got an upset. Timecop is legitimately the best time travel movie in the 90s. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme's best movie. And you got Ron Silver, and it's f***ing awesome.
Bam, that's 1-0 for Timecop. Let's come back around to Stuckman.
I don't agree with you at all. The Matrix, in my opinion, is a much better and much more influential action movie than Timecop ever was.
Stuckman knots it up at 1-1. Ellis.
I love that it comes down to me because, Chris, I respect your opinion on most things. You can have your red pill, my friend. Me and Nick Mundy are taking the blue pill, and we're doing the splits on the countertop because Timecop is beating The Matrix. Timecop is a better movie than The Matrix, not just because of the splits on the countertop, because Van Damme's boss is D-Day from Animal House.
This is unprecedented. The 16 seed, Timecop knocking off the 1 seed, The Matrix. Timecop moving on. Well, let's see if he can recover from that beatdown because Keanu is back. Point Break going against True Lies.
God damn it.
Ellis.
Point Break is the reason why we have great films today like The Hurt Locker and like Zero Dark 30 because Catherine Bigelow directed Point Break and got her start. It put the term the 50-year storm into the lexicon. Point Break is going to upset True Lies.
Mundy.
Damn it.
A Screen Junkies first, we have Shut Up Nick Mundy.
Here's the thing about True Lies, and I was going to save this for a later round because I thought it was going to go, but I got to bring out the big guns.
Yeah.
True Lies is James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movie. I think it's my favorite 90s action movie. Point Break is awesome. I got to go with True Lies.
1-1, and you just reminded us, this is a James Cameron, Catherine Bigelow smackdown. Not since they were both nominated for Best Director.
And married.
Okay, it's 1-1. Stuckman.
Point Break has an FBI agent!
I am an FBI agent!
Point Break, of course, is a better action movie than True Lies. I'm sorry, it just is.
Boom!
Give me 2.
Arnold should have won a goddamn Oscar.
Nick, shut it down! Point Break moving on. Maybe right now, Schwarzenegger can redeem himself as #4 seed Total Recall takes on Demolition Man. Stuckman, talk to us.
Total Recall is one of the best sci-fi action movies ever made. Total Recall, absolutely.
Ellis.
Total Recall has a chick with 3 boobs in it. Meanwhile, Demolition Man has sex with Sandra Bullock where you never even get to touch her. Despite the fact that I love the concept of all restaurants being Taco Bell, I gotta go with Total Recall.
Total Recall takes it. Moving on. Bad Boys versus The Rock at #5. Wow!
Son of a bitch.
I don't think Nick's enjoying this experience
This
anymore.
is hard and no.
It sure is hard. You know what? Your vote didn't matter in the last round, so I'm coming to you first.
I love Bad Boys. The Bad Boys 2 is the Bad Boys I love the most. And that's a 2000 movie. That would win 2000. The Rock is why I still give Michael Bay, like, credit. It's my second, it's an amazing movie.
Boom! 1-0 The Rock. Ellis.
Bad Boys, Bad Boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when Sean Connery welcomes you to The Rock? The Rock takes it. Maybe my favorite movie of all time ever. Besides anything, it's The Rock.
Boom! That means The Rock is moving on. Here's another. It's non-stop barn burners, you guys. Terminator 2. against number 15, Steven Seagal's Under Siege.
Terminator 2 all the way.
Nick Mundy.
Terminator 2.
That means Terminator 2 is moving on. Ellis?
What's sad is that I've probably seen Under Siege more than I've seen Terminator 2, but obviously Terminator 2 will say hasta la vista to Steven Seagal's best work.
The 10 seed against the 7 seed. Last Boy Scout. Against number 7, Speed Ellis. Talk to me.
If you know the song, sing it with me. Friday night's a great night for football. Okay, I guess I was the only one that remembered the opening of The Last Boy Scout. It's a really fun movie.
That was
Bruce
really
Wilson
anticlimactic.
The fact that, spoiler alert, Damon Wayans saves the day by throwing a football on a horse from the field up to the skybox. I gotta give it to Speed. It's a really well put together action movie, and it expanded Keanu Reeves' career.
Chris Stuckman.
No, do me first.
Okay, Mundy.
Look, I respect you, but Last Boy Scout is the second best Die Hard ever. Last Boy Scout should win this thing. Last Boy Scout should win this thing.
Boom, 1-1. Chris Stuckman.
Speed, 100%.
Boom, Speed. Moving on. Nick Mundy, R.I.P. Next matchup, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Up against our number 14 film, Air Force One. Start with Stuckman.
Die Hard with a Vengeance at times competes with Die Hard for me. To this day, I will watch that movie and actually start to perspire. Like, it will make me sweat because you just feel the summer heat of that movie.
Turn on the AC. Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1-0. Thank you, sir. Mark Ellis.
I saw Die Hard with a Vengeance twice opening day, and I stand by my decision. I wish I had time to see it a third time in that day for the three-peat. Die Hard with a Vengeance takes it.
This last one, a Sophie's choice right here. Con Air against number 6, Face Off.
You man, that's like the best of 97.
Nick, talk to me.
I'm going to go with Face Off. Wow.
1-0
Man,
Face Off.
that is...
Thank you, Nick. Mark Ellis.
See, I'm going Con Air because both of them have really cockamamie premises, but it's so fun to watch Con Air. This group of prisoners led by John Malkovich, Nicolas Cage with the best fake hair he's ever had. Plus, every time John Cusack says another line, you can hear his soul dying on screen. I gotta go Con Air.
1-1. All comes down to Chris Stuckman.
I agree with him in regards to the Con Air quotes. I agree with you in some of the ways about Face Off, too. I mean, you gotta have John Travolta going, woo-wee, I'm good looking. Like, how can you not have that in a movie? It's amazing.
You good looking. You're hot.
That being said, Con Air has the best smile and wink to a camera ever by Nicolas Cage.
Con Air Stuckman. Give me a Con Air Stuckman.
Absolutely. Con Air all the way.
Look,
I mean, John
wow,
Malkovich.
John Malkovich. Upset. Con Air moving on. And fun fact, John Cusack refuses to be interviewed about that movie because he hates it so much.
Don't blame him.
So our second round is set. Timecop, the number 16 seed that upset the number 1 against Point Break. Let's start with Mark Ellis.
Look, when I was a kid, I was on Team Van Damme. My favorite Van Damme film of all time is Hard Target. My favorite Keanu Reeves / Patrick Swayze / skydiving, bank robbing, surfing movie is Point Break. The winner, I'm sorry, Jean-Claude, is Point Break.
Okay, Nick Mundy.
Point Break is great. It's a great movie. I will watch it more times than I will watch Timecop.
Point Break, moving on. Up next, Total Recall versus The Rock.
Let's make this fast. The Rock is a great action movie. It has Sean Connery in one of his last good movies. Nicolas Cage is fantastic in it. It looks amazing. It's one of Michael Bay's best movies, but Total Recall, for goodness sakes.
Nick Mundy.
The Rock.
The Rock. Bam. Mark Ellis.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah!
Moving
I
on.
win! 1! I get 1!
Oh!
It's getting personal, and it's not getting any easier. Terminator 2 versus Speed. Mark Ellis.
Look, Speed's a great movie. It's the best Die Hard ripoff I've ever seen. But Terminator 2 was a seminal moment in the history of film. You gotta go T2.
T2. Chris Stuckman.
I agree completely. Terminator 2, amazing, amazing science fiction action movie.
Terminator 2 moves on. Nick, thoughts?
I'm not gonna be a Terminator 2. I'm not
And our last matchup of the second round. Die Hard with a Vengeance versus Con Air. Chris Stuckman.
Say the right answer, Chris. You know what the right answer is.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I went on a first date on Con Air, and it did not go well.
Okay, so
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance moving on. Ellis, what would you have said?
I took a girl to neither film, and I haven't since. Die Hard with a Vengeance.
We are down to the final 4. Point Break versus The Rock. Nick.
The Rock. The Rock is gonna... I've said this for people in the movie. The Rock is just a great phrase, and it's a great movie. It's a great person. The Rock's gonna win.
1-0 The Rock. Mark Ellis.
It's very hard for me to go against The Rock because I stayed out after curfew to watch the end of the movie. However, The Rock gave Michael Bay confidence, and we see what Michael Bay does with confidence. Point Break gave Catherine Bigelow confidence. Let's see what she does with that. Johnny Utah's movie, Point Break.
1-1.
Yeah, The Rock wanted me to go on Alcatraz.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Chris Stuckman.
Keanu Reeves skydived out of an airplane. Point Break.
Point Break knocks off number 5 seed The Rock.
This is
Point
a house
Break.
of bull.
Point Break going to the finals. Guys, I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit flabbergasted that Point Break beat seminal action film The Rock.
Let's just look at the gaggle of villains in The Rock. It's a bunch of no-names led by Ed Harris. However, in Point Break, you have the ex-presidents. That's why it gets the nod.
The Rock has 3 generations of heroes. Sean Connery, 80s Michael Biehn, and 90s Nicolas Cage, arguably the greatest action star in the 90s.
If your only argument is that Nicolas Cage was in a lot of action movies back then and made a lot of money, guess what? He still is in a shit ton of action movies.
See,
And
they
they all suck.
But these
They
were
suck.
great movies. The Rock is his best goddamn movie, and it's the best movie of the 90s.
And it is not
Bees!
moving on. We could
Bees!
we could have a whole episode about this, but Point Break has made it to the finals. All
Lori
right.
Petty made it to the finals. Are you guys happy with
No one
yourselves?
surfs in the...
Okay, where's Tank Girl gonna make it, guys?
No one surfs in
Tank
The Rock.
Girl did not make our list. If you are upset about that, leave us a comment below. Our second Final Four matchup, Terminator 2 against Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Okay, look, Terminator 2 is such an incredible movie. How many times are we going to say it? Everyone knows it's amazing. Die Hard with a Vengeance, though, I think is one of the most underrated action movies of all time. I need like another minute. Can I hear their arguments? Is that okay? Because I honestly, this is like the hardest decision of my life, and I just got...
Judges, yes, you can.
Thank you.
Nick Mundy.
Look, I made a point that my whole Screen Junkies career is about Die Hard. But Terminator 2, like, it's an amazing movie. And it's Terminator 2. It's Terminator 2. As much as I love Die Hard, none of the sequels are nearly as good as Die Hard.
Bam!
So, Terminator 2.
1-0, Terminator 2.
That's how you make a definitive statement.
Mark Ellis.
You could be mine, Die Hard with a Vengeance. However, it did not build upon the greatness of the first two. It was merely another good Die Hard movie, whereas Terminator 2 elevated the original source material. That puts it over the edge for me. T2 will be battling in the finals.
T2 moves on. Chris, what would you have said?
Terminator 2.
The finals are set. Point Break versus Terminator 2.
Timecop. Timecop.
Chris Stuckman, I'm coming to you first. No passing this time.
No passing this
Yes.
time. Look, if I said that Point Break was better than Terminator 2, my career and my life would be over because a lot of my friends would probably murder me in my sleep. Terminator 2.
Terminator 2. Mark Ellis.
I'm not going to murder in your sleep, but I'll defend you in your sleep. I'm actually going to take Point Break over Terminator 2 because Point Break is a better 90s action film. Point Break needed to come out in the 90s. It did, and it made the 90s better for all of us. Thank you, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for making a cameo in there.
Unbelievable. Chris Stuckman walking off the set. Point Break. Terminator 2 tied up 1-1. Who could have saw this coming? It all comes down to Nick Mundy. Nick, it feels like you've been a little bit bullied throughout this tournament, but now the power is in your hands. How does that feel?
Yeah, well, not great because this is like my 6th favorite going against like my 8th favorite. So, but this is how democracy works, I guess. So, look, Point Break is a great 90s movie. Terminator 2 is a great movie. There's no qualifier to it. It still holds up. It's Schwarzenegger's second best movie because True Lies should have been in this conversation.
Whoa.
True Lies should have been one. But
Nick, I think you just undercut everything you said.
I know, but hey, I won. In the end, I won. So where's the prize?
Nick, you did not win. Terminator 2 has won. Let's give it a round of applause.
Well done.
Bam! This is what we're talking about. Terminator 2, the best 90s action film of all time, or at least the 90s.
Hal, that toy looks a lot more like Patrick Swayze than it does Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If you are still watching this and you did not throw your computer against the wall in anger or disgust, tell us what the best 90s action film in your opinion is. Leave us a comment in the section below. Tell us why. Best comment, we will send you a Screen Junkies t-shirt. I want to thank my awesome panel. Chris Stuckman, thank you for being here. Check him out, his YouTube channel, Chris Stuckman, great movie reviews. Check out the Schmoes Know on YouTube and their podcast. Mark Ellis, thank you.
Thank you. You can also find me tied up in Nick Mundy's basement.
And Nick.
Thanks for having me. I'm just glad no one won. No one's happy leaving today.
Terminator 2 won. Thank you for watching. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit them all up on Twitter. I'm Hal Rudnick. Bye-bye. Now, old Doomy, he didn't fare that well in this version, gaining not only awesome powers, but a horribly disfigured, pretty gross appearance with claws and hooves. Kind of like if you imagine Iron Man mating with a centaur, and this is their baby. That also happens to be a homicidal maniac.